Here are the foundations I've used for over 30 years to keep horses healthy and sound long-term without chasing problems every season. But the thing is, the foundations alone aren't enough. So what actually keeps horses resilient year after year, even when nothing appears wrong, are the principles that guide those foundations. The same principles that I use in practice every day to prevent disease, injury, and burnout before they ever show up. When you combine those solid foundations with the clear principles, you get something most horse owners are missing: a way to understand what real health actually looks like, not just how to react when it's gone. Because if you want long-term health, you just can't manage symptoms. You have to understand how health is built. And if you want fewer setbacks over the years, you need a way to recognize when the system is drifting before the problems ever arise. And that's what the Hale and Hearty Horse Collective is. It's not just information. You can get that anywhere. It's how to think about the horse's health when you're really responsible for the outcomes. Inside the collective, you'll learn the frameworks I use to evaluate things like nutrition and movement, immunity, behavior, and resilience. And you'll learn them in relation to one another, so decisions in one area don't quietly create a problem in another. So most horse owners don't realize that good decisions made in isolation without looking at the horse as a whole can undermine health. I know you're not failing to keep your horse healthy because you don't care. But you might be failing because no one has ever given you a way to see the forest and the trees, the individual parts, and the horse as a whole system. Inside the collective membership, your learning doesn't happen all at once, and it doesn't happen in isolation. So first, you receive clear, in-depth teaching on those 4 core foundations of health, so you understand what actually supports the body before we ever talk about the complex cases. But then each week, we take one piece of the system and we place it back into the context of the whole horse health. So sometimes it looks like we'll be talking about the foundations. Sometimes it looks like we'll be talking about the principles of holistic medicine that explain why the foundations work. And sometimes it looks like real case studies, where we walk through a particular disease or a particular injury or a breakdown, or even chronic patterns and illness, and then make sense of them step by step. So it's not here to tell you what to do. It's actually to show you how to think. And I also share my system framework for thinking through those real-world cases, those patterns, and those decisions in an ongoing format. So this is where the thinking gets reinforced in real time over and over, and where current cases, observations, and emerging patterns are layered on top of one another onto what you're already learning. So that understanding keeps building. And over time, you start to recognize patterns early, and you'll see when things are starting to drift before it actually ever becomes a problem. And decisions feel steadier because they're grounded in a framework, not in guesswork. And that's what the collective is designed to do. I don't want to overwhelm you with a ton of information, but I want to give you a way to organize what you're seeing so that your horse's health actually holds. The Hale and Hearty Horse Collective is for those horse owners who want to understand health and not just manage problems. It's for people who don't want to wait until something breaks to start paying attention. And it's for those who aren't satisfied with piecemeal advice that changes depending on who you ask. It's for owners who value prevention, but also want a way to make sense of disease, injury, and complex cases when they arise. It's for people willing to slow down enough to think clearly, connect patterns over time, and build understanding that actually lasts. And it's especially for those who want to work alongside their veterinarians, their trainers, and their body workers with better questions or clearer observations or feedback. and a stronger sense of what matters most. This isn't for quick fixes or shortcuts or even one-size-fit-all answers, because those don't work. It's for horse owners who want a steady, coherent way to support their horse's health over the long term. You'll find a full breakdown of exactly how all of the collective works below. So check out all the information, and I'll see you in the collective.